information to go on.
Well, Panupol is, has been at World Championships for a long time, whereas Matthew is relatively new to the world scene. Excellent player, comes from Canada as well. We will try not to be partisan.
Yes.
Oh, Matthew has a nice opening rack, as you can see.
Wow. So, Mr. Frizzle, over here. We're going to be riding
Just
on that magic
Frizzle.
school bus to getting lots of points.
So, Matthew's not going first. So, but we'll. Oh, Damozel. Okay, so everybody's going to bingo. So, I'm assuming Matthew's not going first, or is he? Matthew is first. So here's the situation. His bingo is Frizzle. You want to maximize your points. He's wondering if it's Frizzle or Fizzler. That's the problem. I can see that. The Frizzle, he's going to make, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Well, point I was going to make is that where do you put the Z if you're going to play Frizzle? Do you put it on the double letter score and put it one away from the triple? That's a big discussion that we have all the time. Where do you place that Z when you're one away from the triple?
We saw Panupol put his hand forward to indicate hold, so Matthew is on hold after his opening play.
Frizzler is also good, so this is a huge opening score.
Panupol
106 points, not 78. And if you're not 100% sure, I think you...
for that many points, you got to challenge.
You got to challenge, yeah. He's certainly not going to double-double through the Z. Or is he? Is Damozel's good with the Z?
With the Z, that is an excellent question. It
It
actually
is
is good.
But the actual Z isn't there. There's something to be said if the Z was in the double-double lane, to let it go if you're not 100% sure.
Yes.
And get yourself a double-double with that Z. For 140 points. It'd be pretty hard to say no to that. As it is, it's worth 90 to Matthew. So here's the situation. Panupol has a 90-point comeback to Matthew's 106. If he challenges and it turns out to be good, he's going to be down probably 150, pretty 141, to 0 versus being down 90 to 106. So these are the things that are going on in his head right now. I'm not 100% sure. Oh,
he is going to challenge
he is
Fizzler.
Enough sure. Okay.
Challenge has been made, and we're going to see that word coming off the board.
Oh, that's why it's semifinals. While we're waiting, we can give you an update on how people did in the first round. Although we don't have a lot of time. Matthew did win the first game by 151 versus Panupol. And in the second round, it's not up yet, so.
So despite the loss of challenge, Matthew's looking calm and collected, chewing on that gum over there, waiting for his turn. And now Panupol has a difficult decision here because he's going to know that by playing his bingo, he's going to be giving back frizzles at the very least somewhere. So he's got to consider placement when he puts his own bingo play down here. To answer the question in the feed about Colin's challenge penalty, in the Collins games it's a loss of 5 points for each word challenged per turn, assuming that it's an incorrect challenge.
All right. So he's got Damozel. And that's it. And normally there's really not much to think about. You stick the M on the double letter, and away you go. So he's trying to consider what else does Matthew have with that rack that he can play through. And Matthew's rack plays Frizzles, Frizzler, Frizzled, and Frenzily, and that's it. So really only the S and the D are of interest. And if he plays Damozel, Matthew can come down and play Frizzled, but the Z will not hit the triple letter. He clearly does not want to put the S on the center star. That would be really not good. So he's decided to force Matthew. Well, and now Matthew's going to play frizzles to the S. I'm not sure about that. The Thais have some interesting way of thinking about where to put their opening racks.
It's a really interesting placement here. I'm assuming with domicile in a traditional position with the M on the double letter score, he doesn't want to give back more points with the triple letter score and the double word score, but it's still an interesting placement regardless.
Well, you know, if you just transpose it 1 over, you force Matthew not to be able to take a double word score. But if you do it 1 over and he's not sure about frizzle, he might just play fizz for a lot of points and double the Z in both directions on a double word score. So there is a lot to think about in terms of placements. So he's doing well to think about it for a few seconds. I don't know if this one is... Well, I don't know that he has much of a choice. Otherwise, no matter what, Matthew's going to double it. Yeah, it's okay. Now, Matthew may not be, 100% sure about trying frizzle, and he might just play fizz.
He's looking pretty 100% sure at this point in time.
Okay. He knew something was there, he just wasn't sure which one. Yeah. And he's putting the Z below, after the blank, because he doesn't want to put the Z next to the double word score.
Yeah, there we go.
Now Eddie's just...
Yeah, so recovering from the momentary lapse, he is putting down the valid bingo play here this time.
For 88. It would have been interesting, though, if he had known for sure frizzle where he would have put it.
Yeah.
And can you imagine Panupol would have come back with Damosel and frizzled if he had put the Z on the double letter?
Yeah.
That would have been, oh my goodness. We're going to need a supercomputer to figure that one out.
And to answer the question in the chat there, we have custom equipment that we use here at tournaments in the North American Scrabble Players Association. One of the reasons for that is the standard wooden tiles that used to be, well, they still are actually, distributed with a standard game set. You can actually braille those tiles. And what we mean by that is you can move your thumb or your finger over top of the tile, and some of the older tiles actually used to have grooves inside that indicated the letter that was on the tile. So if you felt the tile while you put your hand in the bag and noticed no groove, you'd know it was a blank tile. So some players would some players would sometimes, well, we would say cheat, essentially, by moving their fingers over some of these tiles and trying to find the blank tiles in the bag. So these tiles are hollowed out on the bottom on one side. They're all smooth on top no matter what. So this is a way of avoiding that problem of what we call brailing the tiles. So that's how we have these custom sets.
It is interesting that Panupol decided to play in not Collins, which is what he's more familiar with. So he is forcing himself to not be able to play thousands of words that he knows, and he's forcing himself to remember that those words are unplayable. My hunch is that there's a bigger prize in TWL play, which is why he's playing in that division today.
And he's wisely accepted this word. He held this word as well after Matthew played it, but searching through the memory banks there, it looks like he has found that word in his head. And he's also got ultra rad lined up on his rack, because I believe...
Well, an ultra red. Ultra rad's not a word. Ultra dry. Treadler. And that's it. So he does not have a playable bingo. Not quite sure. Obviously, he's going to want to get rid of the R and possibly the L. He doesn't have an easy word off the F. I guess he can play draft, which subjects itself to lots of extensions: drafting, drafters, draftier. Draftily, there's another one, and draftees. But, there's only so much wording you can do.
Yeah, so draft is going down here. keeping LR, which normally isn't the best of letters to combine together, but with a blank tile on his rack, he's not going to be as concerned as usual about the lack of synergy of L and R.
No, you have to score. Oh, I like how they're turning the board now. It's almost reminding me of Batman for some reason.
Yes.
When you would switch scenes, and it would all of a sudden the whole screen would turn around really quickly, and da 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 Batman.
Batman. Yes.
I have no idea what Matthew's thinking.
He's probably thinking, well, crap, but
I know exactly what
Brev
he's thinking.
And
Brev.
AB and TE.
Yeah, and he's going to play that. There's no question. It does take an S, but it also takes a T. It's a bit more volatile.
Yes, and then, brevet would later extend to brevet C with CY at the end if the board was big enough there.
Oh, you know, Brev doesn't take an S. I really need to look stuff up before I say things out loud. Oh, it does take an S. See? See what I meant?
We'll just pretend that didn't happen.
I'm thinking TWL players are super happy with the new TE inclusion in the dictionary. I know I am. Oh, and let's see what he's got.
Panupol looks like he's playing Turtler.
Not too many bingos in that rack. Rattler on Turtler.
It's a fantastic play. If Matthew had a B, as in Bravo, instead of that P, he would have Bauhinia through that A in Damoiselle.
There's nothing. Okay. Bauhinia. You have it? Nope. Having some more computer difficulties with the feed from the NASP side of it, not from the Magic side of it. The game isn't up at all. Oh, Mankind. Look at that.
Rack.
Look how he
Wow.
set that up so pretty. Obviously a very volatile play. I've had people, I mean, not in a high division, but people who played up to play in the expert division who might not even play if they found Mankind's. I've heard them say, oh, well, I didn't want to give you an S along the triple rows, so I deprived myself of bingo. I mean, you're not going to see that kind of play here. Huipil is, yeah, that's definitely the play. To the L. I don't know how it is for you, Jesse. I know when I'm playing sometimes, you know, it's like the show, I found that you say yes to the dress, you know the right one when you put it on. You know, Huipil.
It feels right to me as well.
It feels so right.
The nice thing about Huipil is obviously with that rack not looking so clean, that scores some points. It clears off the mostly awkward letters from his rack and gives him a chance to build up the AN off his rack. Unfortunately for him, Panupol already has Mankind's lined up in his rack, and that's likely going to go down without a whole lot of thought, other than, as we talked about before, still looking at the board for a little bit to make sure there's nothing new that's been given as a result of that last play.
Inkstand is the other bingo in that rack. Oh, love it. So Panupol should slap that down pretty quickly, but he is going to check. Another nice thing about Huipil is that it saved AN, which does go on top of the H and the U. So not only did he clean up his rack, but he also created a nice opening that he can take advantage of based on the tiles he saved.
Matthew was trying to channel a bit of Joe Edley chi. I don't know what kind of energy he was going for, but he had all of the letters lined up for Jargoon with an open space for the R in his rack, hoping that last tile he drew would be an R, but it turned out to be an O instead. So looks like he's going to have to adjust his channeling a little bit there so he can pick that last tile hopefully next time.
All right. Yeah. I think Panupol is understanding that this is what he's going to have to play. Oh my goodness. We've been called captivating by fellow Canadian Roger Cullman. Check out the captivating, as much as Scrabble can be, Division 1 quarterfinals live coverage. It is actually the semifinals of the North American Scrabble Championships in Reno, featuring Ottawa Scrabbler Matthew Tunnicliffe taking on Thailand's Panupol, and I will not pronounce that. Commentary by Robin Pollock-Daniel and Jesse Matthews.
Thanks for the shout out, Roger. We appreciate that.
Roger's a fabulous photographer, and he has gone to tournaments asking people to spell out their name on a rack and hold it underneath their nose, almost like a mugshot. And he takes pictures of Scrabble players and he creates a tableau. You're in that, aren't you?
I actually haven't been featured in that yet.
Okay, we're going to have to correct that.
We will have to.
All right.
Panupol had a humorous lineup of letters there. I can't say it on the air, but it made me laugh for sure.
I missed it. That is a fun thing to do, actually. When you know that people are watching your racks, you can actually put the tiles in configurations that are funny for people to look at, even though you'd have no intention of playing them. Oh my goodness.
So
okay.
Panupol has passed on Mankind's and goes for Dank instead.
And this could be an example of the poor English of the Thai players not sure that mankind is a noun. Or questioning himself whether he's actually really seen that, but he's found it awfully quickly. So we're going to have to ask him afterwards if that was a conscious decision not to stick the S along the triple row. Doesn't seem likely, though.
I think he may have just simply decided against it.
Yeah. There's a lot of... I would think one of the reasons the Thai might take longer to play is that since it's not their language, they're just spending a lot more time questioning whether a word is a word because they don't use it in everyday speech.
And if I recall correctly, I believe Mankind's used to only be in Collins and was recently added in the update. If I recall correctly. Hopefully someone in the chat will know. Well, look at that. Someone's written it in the chat already. Great. Thank you, guys. So it was, in fact, just added recently to
Mankind was just added
TWL
recently?
as well. So that would probably be the issue there.
Really?
Yeah, so I guess just Mankind as a noun plural is all that was in TWL before.
Oh, the plural, but not the word itself. Mankind was always
Mankind was always in there, but just not the S plural, I guess. So maybe that's just the issue.
Maybe it was Menkind.
Menkind? That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting. All right, well, not a lot of options here for Matthew.
He's thinking about that ganja down to the AH.
Nah.
He may need some to relax after this game.
That ain't going to happen. It scores nothing and saves 3 O's. There's nothing to recommend it. Neither is playing Joe over Dank, because that, like, wow, what a board killer right there.
He's looking at Gazoo through the blank Z in Frizzles next as a possible play, but ultimately he has opted for Join.
All right, 26 points. Nothing to sneeze at. And let's see. Oh, we haven't seen the rest of Panupol's tiles. hopefully he has.
He's got the WOW already. He's putting down there. I'd say that's a fairly straightforward decision to get rid of those.
Oh, and Matthew's starting to clean up nicely. He desperately would have loved to have gotten rid of 2 O's last turn, but it wasn't going to happen. There are absolutely no bingos with that rack, obviously. And we finally have some computer working in our room. That's great. All right. So Panupol is starting to get a few unwieldy tiles that don't go together.
So normally we like to see a few of those high-scoring tiles in our racks so we can maximize points and and keep a lead. That's hard to defend, but in this case, Panupon's got 3
Well,
of those clunky tiles that don't really work well together, at least in the same turn.
it sounds like what he's looking at, and very cleverly, is to play Pavin, P-A-V-I-N, over over Dank, and save the S hook, because it takes an S in front for, I don't know how to pronounce it, Spavan or Spavin.
Spavin, I would guess. I'm not sure.
So that's a very clever play.
For a safer placement that still offers the same hook, he could play on and Pavin as well, so it's not necessarily on the triple line. Another possibility if he doesn't want to be quite so dangerous.
A-W-N when you think on.
Yes.
Not O-N, but A-W-N, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I personally would play the one on top.
Perhaps a stylistic choice.
Perhaps. Or one is correct and one is not.
This is possible as well. So a glue is lined up on Matthew Tunnicliffe's rack. That was recently added to the TWL update that used to only work in the International Dictionary, but now works in North America as well.
You know what it means? I don't.
It's a Canadian word. That's all I know.
Isn't it how a Texan pronounces where an Eskimo lives?
Aglue. I tell you what. So Aglue has gone down on the board. And it looks like there is just one spot now to play Pavin, so I guess that would be the correct placement now, given it's the only one.
You know, you just have to know what's going to happen in the future. It makes you a better player. Checking scores now. Sounds like there might be a scoring error. During the game, you are allowed to stop the clock if there's a dispute about the score. There you go. Now you're seeing Matthew re-hit the clock because they did actually stop it to check a score. And the annotators are not permitted to let them know what the actual score is. The computer is doing it for the annotators, but they're not allowed to chime in. In fact, it's not easy to be an annotator, especially if you know a lot of words. You have to sit there and not let the players know that you see something.
So Pavin's gone down, leaving himself a juicy S-hook for later. Meanwhile, Matthew has got... His rack is certainly better balanced now, but still not quite
still too many
bingo-friendly.
vowels and too many ugly vowels. I'd rather have 2 A's and E's over 2 I's and O's any day.
Yes.
Echinoid is the only bingo in that rack, which does take an S. Those are great words, the OID words that take an S, because they're great to fool your opponent. Are we seeing Grammar Girl? Is that... I think I saw her.
I believe Grammar Girl is here.
There we go. There's Grammar. Well, we were talking about her, Peter, from Merriam-Webster's here, and he got her over here. Apparently she lives all of 3 blocks from the hotel.
Wow.
And he said that she'd been on Oprah Winfrey, and I said... And then she, her popularity blew up, and I said, wow, because Oprah's now on OWN network, and certainly not as popular as when she was on network TV. And he goes, this was 2003. So I said, so now she's Grammar Lady, or Grammar Woman. She's not Grammar Girl anymore, right?
Well, unless she's like Grammar Girl with those extra R's in there. Maybe she's a rock star.
Is that how she spells it?
I don't know.
Never heard of her before today.
I've looked at her site 1 or 2 times where I admittedly was checking to make sure I used a word properly for a college paper. I'm not perfect, guys. Sorry.
Oh my God. What a great resource she is then.
She is. It's been very helpful. Matthew almost has Hi Dion spelled out in his rack. So hello, Dion Saldana, if you're watching. All the Saldanas, we miss you.
I was complimented today when I was advertising on Facebook to come watch this day of Scrabble. I said, come join me and Jesse Matthews. And somebody from the Scrabble world thanked me for not saying join myself and Jesse Matthews, which would have been incorrect. So I knew that.
Yes, that overuse of self.
I guess. It's the overuse of I. So what are we seeing for Matthew? We're having fun here. He's looking underneath probably the O in aglue to maybe do something with his H. Although I'm not sure what he can do with it.
He's looking between high underneath a glue, and he was looking at playing Hode somewhere else.
D-E-I-O-N is a very nice save. I might personally play H-I-E and save the D hook and get rid of another vowel. I don't think it's a good idea to save the 3 vowels. And then he also saves an O to go underneath OH.
Yeah, so he has opted for high in the end.
Are there a lot of E's played? I don't think so. No, I would have stuck another E out there.
There's 5 E's on the board at this point.
All right.
And Panupol is playing Buys and Spaven for a fair number of points here.
That's a nice setup. See how that worked?
And Panupol has another S on his rack on top of that, which he can still utilize for O's, OHS, and something else in the future.
How did Matthew do? You see, he picked another O. You had to get rid of a third vowel, Matthew. Another vowel, Matthew, I think.
So, not quite enough room for dioxane through the A in Spaven, because that would open things nicely. Exodoi was lined up on his rack briefly, but I don't think there would have been a good spot for that.
How great to get rid of that, eh? That would have been fabs. Can't, through the A to the double letter to put the X there, nothing there. If he had an R, he would have had radix. We're always looking ways to maximize our high point tiles, and then double them or triple them, and then double the word as well, at least. So that's why we're constantly aware of the multi-point spaces on the board. He might just play pox. Not terrible. He liked the D-E-I-N-O save last turn. But he does need to score and try to limit. Is there anything OHO and... Oh, it's OI, not IO, so... Nothing there. Oops. Doxy would be kind of crazy off HI. Hidden Doxy. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to do Pox. Yeah. Well, he certainly saved himself enough vowels to play off of Pox.
And meanwhile, Panupol has Yuka lined up on his rack with 2 C's to get rid of some of the clunky letters there. I'm not sure it'll go down with both of the C's, but he has Poxy and...
yeah, Yuka, YUCA is perfectly good.
Yeah, just Yuka with 1 C gets the job done and scores a fair bit there. CTS is certainly not a bad lead by any means here, and it takes out that triple line.
And the score is 311 to 258. 311 to 258 in favor of Panupol. If the computer is correct from our side of things. If anybody can verify that for us, that would be great. But that's what my computer's showing me. Yuka is certainly a perfectly lovely play. Anything through the A that he could do. Let's see. He doesn't have good stuff to go off that O. That's the problem. Well, let's see. I think he might just be playing Yuka to the A, saving cats. I think that's what he's thinking of doing. Yeah. I think he's had enough of not having enough vowels.
I would say so.
And Matthew's picked up more vowels. He's got to be getting pretty sick of that. So he's clearly looking to play to the left of pox. You have to be very careful that if you make a 5-letter word ending in a vowel, you're going to create a very volatile spot with a triple letter to the right of the 5th letter, going down to the double word. So a play like anode would not be recommended. So he's looking to balance his rack and save the best possible tiles. He can't really infer anything off of what Panupol just played, because Panupol just played UI in 2 consecutive turns. So the question is Panupol cleaning up his rack, or is he just making the best he can with the crap he has on his rack? That's what Matthew must be questioning himself, what's happening on Panupol's rack.
I think with just that that YUC played, it's really not telling him much other than the rack's been cleaned up, so
yeah,
good play there.
So he's cleaning up his rack and opening up another lane for himself. Oh, Kurt Davies has called our commentary. Excellent. You know, I'm just grabbing at straws here.
Very good. Thank you for the shout out there, Kurt.
They won't tell us directly, but they'll compliment us through invitations to others. Oh, finally Matthew's got... yes! And one more. Matthew's afraid to look at the 7th tile.
Oh.
Another vowel. Domineer off a D that he just played. And let's see. It's fact. Well, you know what? Panupol did well to keep that A. Because if he was going to have another 6 consonants with a U, he wasn't going to be happy.
His one consonant would have made him a different letter, which I can't pronounce because it sounds too similar to an expletive.
Okay. Yeah, so he's looking to block a little bit.
And so fact here to keep UTS, which is a nice balanced leave of 2 consonants to 1 vowel. U might not have been the best vowel to keep in most cases, but here fact scores reasonably and also takes out a straightforward play.
It's a really, really tough board to bingo on, like really, really tough. You need to either have an S to hook off fact, or you have to somehow bingo underneath OOHI. And OI takes the L. And I'm going to check. Good, it does not take the S. I was pretty sure on that.
And
Are there any L's left?
Nice, interesting new play with fact.
No
is
L's.
Fact is not quite as limiting as it used to be in TWL, because fact used to just take the S at the end. Now it takes an A as well.
Ah, I did not know
fact
that.
actually works as well.
Thank you.
And I do see that's been pointed out in our chat feed. You guys are on top of things. I don't even need to do my job anymore.
Honest to God.
I should just leave.
There's a reason why I'm not playing in this tournament.
And Gildron, is that how you say it? I'm sorry if I didn't get it right, but this is a best of 4 series in this semifinals, and the way that works is whoever wins more than the other obviously goes on, but if both players win 2 games apiece, it's a matter of who won their games by more than the other person is the tiebreaker.
It looks like Matthew might be looking to play to the left of fact. He would love to be able to double the M and then triple the word, but there are no words that will allow him to do that. So he was looking at enorm, but he would save 2 vowels, and I have a feeling, you know...
He doesn't like vowels very much right now.
Vowels. Also, the OH not only takes an O after it, but it takes an M. Not that you're going to bingo that often ending in an M, but...
We have had faction suggested as well, which is a decent play here.
A little volatile, because it doesn't open up the potential for a big score to the left of the ION. I would be looking to get rid of some vowels here. And boy, if I could open the board, that would be super duper, but not easy. Let's see now.
So he's looking at Moni somewhere on the board.
I'm not quite sure where. Unless he's thinking OI is IO. And then he'd play Ion.
We're not recommended. Oh, him and Moni. That would be a real Hail Mary here at this point, taking a risk. Oh, he's actually going to do it, yeah. So he's just going to take the risk here and open that board up wide. Panupol has unseats on his rack as a 7. I think on first glance there's nothing through an E, but we'll confirm that. Okay, Robin's confirmed there isn't.
And there's no other bingo other than unseats. Through the I, there's sinuates, which will not play, and nothing through the N. Well, he's got O's. What am I talking about? OH takes an S, so he's going to.
Yeah, so unseats goes there. To answer the question that I'm seeing pop up a few times in the chat feed, my understanding is that if time permits, there is a 5th game played. If there was a tie, completely after 2 games. Otherwise, if there wasn't time, they would simply draw tiles to determine who goes through. But I don't think it's going to get to that point. That would be a terrible way to decide a semifinal. I'm pretty sure that's not going to come up.
Somebody commented that they would love to see the unseen pool. We agree. We would love to see the unseen pool of tiles, and that's something that we will work on in future broadcasts. It's definitely on the list. So Panupol has an interesting decision to make right now. Yes, he can bingo and go up about 120 points. Or he could be scared to death of that E and choose to play something like use or, just something silly. And I can't be sure which one he's going to do. But there is much to be feared of a triple-triple this late in the game. What would you do, Jess?
This is a toughie.
I think I'm up, he's only up 47 points.
I think in the end you really just, I'm just trying to think here. It's different for playoff circumstances. I think, I might be worried about the triple-triple in a lot of cases. Looks like he is still worried about it here regardless and chooses. Oh, it fits.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. What a fantastic play. That is also, that's a better play. Yeah. Hat off. That is brilliant.
Yeah, we should have seen
Absolutely
it.
Brilliant. We should have seen that. Unquestionably, that's a great play there. Bingos, and he makes it difficult. Although EST words could go down if there's any T's left.
Yeah, he could still triple-triple. There's no question about it. I remember doing something exactly in that spot at Can-Am one year, playing Thielen to go out and making 5 words simultaneously. It was a very, very good feeling. There are no bingos to the ES. And we'll get an updated score, I hope, pretty soon on seats for 87. So we have a score of 438. A score of 438 for Panupol to 304 for Matthew. So how many tiles left in the bag? Well, according to this, 8, but there's still a Q unseen. There's possibility of ING bingos, but without an S. And there's only one A.
I think that's all letters possible, so I'm not sure if that's 1 in the bag, if that's 15.
Oh, is that how they're doing it now?
I think that might be it.
Okay, thank you. So there's 1 in the bag.
I believe.
That's a weird way of doing it.
It is.
That's ridiculous.
Quite weird.
In fact, there shouldn't even be one of the racks. It should just be what's left.
Yeah.
All right. That clears up why we kept getting the wrong score.
There's 1 G there, there's 1 on the rack, and still 2 there, so it's just showing all letters possible.
Yeah. All right, we're going to have to talk to Mr. Chu. See if he can fix that for us. So 134 points down with 1 tile in the bag, Q unseen. As far as Matthew's concerned, there are no U's left, but there are 2 I's left. And is there any place for a QI? Oh, there's a QA ID off the ID in Dank if Panupol picked the A. Oh, Matthew has the last A. So he's got, that's very important. So he has to decide which 1 tile he's going to get rid of. What is in the bag? What's left? So we know it's E, G, I, N, I, E, Q, and 1 more. I think it's going to be probably another E.
So if Matthew plays this right, he can probably play out a Q stick here, because I'm not seeing anywhere in particular that Panupol can get rid of that Q.
And you're going to explain what a Q stick is?
So just to explain to those of us in the audience here that are not familiar with some of the issues that come up with Q at the end of a game at times, we talk about sticking someone with a letter when they are unable to play that letter at the end of the game. Q only has 1 2-letter word, and that is chi, Q-I. The other issue, actually, is that in this dictionary only, and not yet in Collins, sank, C-I-N-Q, is playable, and Panupol actually has that as an option on his rack from the C in fact. So a Q stick is possible if Matthew has the foresight to block sank, but that requires thinking about the new word list, which maybe not everyone is quite in the rhythm with yet. He looks like he's essentially just going for points here. Maybe he's just forgotten about sank, because this doesn't offer any Q spots back. It's possible he's just missed sank.
In case you have forgotten, since Jesse announced it at the beginning of the game, Matthew has a 2-0 lead in the series, and he's up by 199 points. And perhaps we can get, after our lovely Rashad here, where it says Tunnicliffe leads 2-0, to add plus 199 in the future, so people will know how many points needs to be overcome. I think that's an easy fix.
Look at that. Like clockwork, he's got that in there. Thanks, Rashad.
I might put in a comma after 2 point. Yeah, there he's. Oh, what's that?
He's got square brackets. Hey!
I don't know, comma after 2 and 0. What do you think?
I think you're going traditional here.
I think. Oh, he's putting space. I still think it's confusing, but
I get it.
I like the comma and then plus 199. Maybe we can get some commentary vote out there. What you prefer? Yeah, he's going for it. There you go. Get rid of that last bracket. There we go. What do you like better? Be honest, it's okay. I can take it.
Actually, I am okay with either way. For me, it's easier to visualize with the square brackets, but this is what we've always done when writing, so it makes sense.
To me, it's a little confusing because it looks like he's up by 1,991 since the bracket's a little thin. It looks like a bit like a 1. Oh, Rashad's agreeing with us. Okay, I love that. So it looks like Panupol's going to win this game, and he's going to cut the deficit in the spread by quite a bit. In other games, in the semifinals, in the top 4, Will Anderson defeated Jesse Day. No, he lost to Jesse Day. So now they're tied at 1-all with a spread of only 14.
That's after 2 rounds, mind you. So we're waiting for the 3rd round to get in.
Jesse had a 507 to Will's 428, so that must have been quite the slugfest. Let me see if I can get you Collins after 2 rounds while we're waiting. Dave Weekend is up 2-0 after 2 rounds with a 263 over Evans Clinchy. And Peter Armstrong and Joanne Craig are tied at 1-all, but Peter is up with a 120 point spread.
So in Division 2, the 3rd round match between John Karras and Todd Taylor concluded. John Karras leads that matchup 2-1 with a spread differential of 127 in his favor. So all he has to do is win that next game or lose by maximally 63 points. 2 games between Kevin Fraley and Gunter Jacobi have passed. Their third one is just about finished, but Kevin is up 2 games to 0 at this point.
I think Matthew just went over. I think he was trying to really quickly. It just seems that way. Oh, he put down crit. Okay. What happened to Panupon's play? Did we miss that?
Panupol appears to have played Geese
okay,
and didn't play Sank, so it looks like both players must have missed Sank.
I think any time the dictionary includes a Q word without a U is a day for celebration.
Yes. See if we can get a couple more updates here for you before we go off the air. In Division C, it looks like Greg Feldkamp is up by 21 spread points. He's 1-1 in his series versus Charles DuPont. So Charles is also at 1-1, but minus 21 in spread, so barely any difference there. And also a very close series between Daniel Novus and Bill Ewing. 1-1 and only 13 spread points difference between them. So still anyone's matchup in either of those two. And finally, in Division 4, just pulling up the standings here,